And so I spent 19 years of my life not knowing who Jesus was. But you know, I think the beauty of it is because I went so long without knowing him, I was so hungry when I got to know him, and I was hungry to know my Bible and to learn and to grow, and it's just been a blessing.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Now that we've learned a little bit about you musically, I want to switch gears for a second. Take us through like a day in the life of Lecrae. Like what is like, how do you balance your work life, home life, and your spiritual life?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, when you really see everything from God's perspective, when you're fighting for that, you see that there's no area that can be left out. And so, for me, you know, the first priority is my intimate relationship with God, because I'm a leader of my house, and if I'm not right with God, then I can't lead my family right with God. So it's important for me to have a consistent, healthy spiritual relationship, an intimate relationship with God in my word and studying and prayer. And then comes my wife. You know, we also have kids, but I got to make sure she's good, because she won't be able to function for them if she's not good. So it's just taking care of her. Then obviously my kids, and you know, and then from there it kind of trickles down, and it's just kind of, it just depends. You know, obviously, you know, doing what I do now, and all of y'all are young, and so this is my encouragement. Just being a young person, people look at me and see me on stage and say, oh, you got so much energy, and you know, usually we don't care a lot about our health because we're young and it's not that big of a deal to us. Our bodies aren't breaking down. But one of the things that's very important to me is just making sure that we steward our health well, because God has given us these bodies, and if you want to go out and do the work of the Lord, you need to make sure you take care of your body so that you're able to do that. So that's definitely a regular aspect of my life now, working out, get up at 5 a.m., sometimes go work out, and just moving throughout the day. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man. Yeah. Now, how did you and your family get involved with Maximize Living? And tell us kind of how it's impacted you.
It's been good. So I would travel a lot, and when you travel a lot on tour, you eat the worst stuff ever. And my road manager, you know, he'd be eating good. He'd be like, we go out to eat, and I'm like, give me 2 legs, fried hard, some French fries, extra ketchup, you know, 3 biscuits, a milkshake, and a Coke, and he's just like, man, you're killing yourself. And I was like, I'm gonna just jump it off on stage, it's no big deal. But he was eating healthy, and he was just, you know, and I just kind of started asking him what's the benefits of this, and he was explaining to me the health benefits, the long-term health benefits, and how, you know, it kept me from disease and sickness, and he was never sick. I was like, you never get sick, like you don't sneeze, like what is going on with you, man? Like, and he was just explaining, like, you know, it's really been him doing what God has called him to do with his body, and I wanted to know more about it, and he was like, man, I go to this place called Maximize Living, and I went and listened to the doctor, and he was kind of explaining how my body worked. And he did it in a way that really lined up with the scriptures as well, and just kind of how God has designed our bodies to work. And so when you know how God has designed something, if I gave you, you know, I used the illustration with money down there, and if I gave you, you know, $10,000 as well in cash, and you took it and you just pasted it on the wall and used it as wallpaper, you would have wasted that. That's not what it's for. And we do the very same thing with our bodies. God has given us these bodies, and he didn't give them to us for us to just, you know, put junk in them and not exercise and not care about it. And so just learning that helped me to see. And then the last thing was, I had a concert, and Kirk Franklin was there, and I did my show, and when I was done, I was sweating, I was like, and then Kirk got up there, he's like, hallelujah, give it to ya. And I was like, dang, he got all this energy, and I know he's old, like, I know he's an old man, like, and I just saw, man, he really takes care of his body, because Kirk is ripped, like, you see the Fight of My Life cover, he's like, and so I was like, okay, you know, I need to take a note from that and start taking better care of myself.
Awesome, man. And you know, we're going to take a note from that too, because as a ministry, we're all going to commit to living healthier lifestyles. Maximize living. I'm convicted too. You know, I want to take care of myself better. I used to be a really big kid. I should show some pictures to y'all. When I was big, I was a big, chunky little something. But over time, I really started getting more health conscious. My wife really helps me. But I really think we can get better.
Absolutely.
I think Maximize Living is going to help. Now, how does Maximize Living help you to stay healthy while traveling? Because, like, okay, you say you went to the doctor, but what happens when you in Texas? Right. Or when you in New York? Or when, I mean, how do you stay healthy going on the road?
Man, because Maximize Living sees what they do as a mission, and not just like, you know, the average doctor's like, you know, come get your pills, here's a prescription, holler at you. But they see it as a mission, and, you know, we would get on a tour bus and go to a whole other city 1,000 miles away, and they got a Maximize Living doctor there ready to help us, ready to serve us, to adjust us, to give us plans, and you know, it was crazy. I mean, in almost every city we come to, they would just show up. And I mean, our concerts would end at 1 in the morning sometimes, and they're still there, you know, to serve. So that's been one of the blessings. Yeah, it's a mission for them. Yeah.
So you mean there's like a network of these doctors, not just here in Dallas, Georgia, or Ohio, they're all over the nation.
All over the nation, all over the world. I went to Zimbabwe and went to a Maximize Living office, and so
there's no excuse.
Yeah.
So when you're on the road, are you tempted to eat junk food since it's so fast and convenient? Like, you came off the 3 biscuits and fried chicken just recently, you see, right? So are you still tempted to go that route?
Absolutely. It's always a temptation, but as a Christian, you can relate because it's the same with sin. You're always tempted to sin.
That's right.
You know, sin is all around you. So fried chicken is all around you. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't escape it. And the same with sin. You can't escape it. It's like, I just want a sinless world. Well, you got to wait for heaven for that. So you have to be disciplined. And that's what Paul says, to buffet your body, be disciplined. And that's one of the things that, you know, and it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You grow into it. You take one step at a time, put one foot in front of the other. Today you stop eating 2 pieces. Tomorrow you eat 1 piece. You know, it's a process.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Just like our spiritual walk.
Absolutely.
Now, give us some quick tips on how we can make healthier food choices when eating out.
Quick tips on food choices when eating out. Well, one of the things that we try to do is, there's an app on our phone called Spoon, and what we do is we'll put in, like, when you look for things that are organic, it means that it's not treated with all kind of chemicals and things that could ultimately damage you. And so we'll look for organic places in Atlanta and the Metroplex. There's different places that are organic, where you can say, okay, here's a place for me to go to and we can eat. I know just in this area, my wife and I, we went to a restaurant. We went to a place called the Aspens, and they had a great menu. They even had like a Maximize Living stuff on the menu, like just so you can eat it. But
approved.
Yeah, it's like approved. Yeah. And just, you know, grass-fed, and like Moe's does grass-fed beef, and you know it's not being tampered with, and so on and so forth. And so, you know, there's just different solutions that if you really want to do it, you can. It's like studying your Bible. If you really want to know the Bible, you can. And I'm gonna jump on the soapbox real quick, and I'm gonna jump back off. But you know, when I became a Christian, I was really like, it was like, okay, I'll just go to church and that's it. And it was like, well, I want to know my Bible, but I don't. And I would hear stuff, but I didn't know if it was true or not. And so I just would take it at face value. And that's what we do with food a lot of times. So somebody comes to you and say, well, we're 2 or more gathered, there I am, right? But then if you go to Psalm 139, the Bible says God is omnipresent. So he's everywhere. So how come when 2 of us are gathered, God is here? But I thought the Bible said he was everywhere. Well, if you learn to study your Bible, you see context. And in context, he's talking about when making decisions, if 2 or more there, it says if God is saying, I agree with this decision. And it just helped me say, okay, I have to really study to show myself approved. And the same with food. It's like I have to study to figure out, okay, what do I eat, what don't I eat? Because it's going to be easy to just say, well, you know, McDonald's has a healthier menu, I'll just eat that. But if you really study, you'll learn, like, there's better choices for you.
That's awesome.
So, I'm off the soapbox.
No, that's good. We need to hear that. A lot of times we really push ministry into this one little box, like I said earlier, where it's just about preaching. No, ministering is whatever God has given you.
Yeah.
You can minister with whatever gift you have, and we can minister through Maximize Living on how to take care of our bodies. That should be a ministry to some of us.
Absolutely.
And what we're going to do after tonight, we're going to start a series after this week called My Body is the Temple. Pull that graphic up real quick. We're going to start this series called My Body is the Temple. And my buddy, my co-worker, Jared, he inspired me on this graphic. Is Jared here? He is here. What's up, boy? Now, my boy Jared is a health nut. He is serious about eating clean. I admire him about a lot of stuff that he does.